From the days of pin-up boys and the femme fatale to male celebrity bodies spread across tabloids, luring you to flick through their pages to read about their weight loss journeys, men have been the victim of the female gaze since the beginning of time. Now, with social media platforms and newspapers going digital, this objectification of the male body is accessible to everyone. Comment sections are filled with judgment about men's bodies, outfits, and overall appearance. We talk to 3 individuals navigating this minefield of oppression, with sexualization and critique at every turn. Daniel Sloane is a successful comedic actor working in Northern Ireland. Coming from a stand-up background, he has worked his way into film and television. Daniel has experienced the harsh reality of a man in both the comedy and film and TV industry.
Proving myself as a comedian was always hard. I was constantly trying to compete with the female comedians around me because everything comes so much easier to them. Audiences relate to them so much more. A man can hardly get a look in. I got my first spot in a television show a couple of years ago. The cast was mostly women and I definitely felt of a lower class working with them. I was treated like I was there to fill a quota more than anything else. Women were my bosses, my co-actors, and they were the crew. The attention from the press and the viewers has definitely been the toughest part though. Instead of focusing on my acting, the focus was on how I looked. Even now, as an established actor and comedian, my clothes are constantly talked about. One article doesn't go by without mentioning how my curves look in my tight jeans and my figure-hugging t-shirt. I just want to be taken seriously. I want my acting and my comedy to be the main focus, but the trolls won't let that happen. The comments I get every day are hard to stomach. The same old diatribe about how men aren't funny is constantly thrown my way. For years, female comedians have taken centre stage and men have had to relate to them. But where's our representation? Men can be just as funny as women. If we were given as many chances as women have to prove ourselves, audiences would see that.
Someone who is no stranger to backlash from audiences is Twitter star Matthew Porter. Matthew rose to fame on the platform, amassing over 500,000 followers in just 6 months. His tweets range from political to cultural, but the discussion evoked by them are far from on topic.
Yeah, I do think I have an insight into the front lines of today's cultural landscape. I've been approached numerous times by various news outlets to pioneer their new era of social media coverage. I think it's important to be aware of and really actively participate in the modern world. Culture shapes the world and in turn the world shapes culture. I research my content thoroughly before posting anything. If I'm representing myself when I post, I want to represent the truth and not just my truth. But there's always the responses. I get a lot of people agreeing with what I'm saying, but it's the people who disagree who are the most hurtful. A lot of them are women who just see a man with a voice and think about how they can silence it. For example, yesterday I tweeted about a certain political figure and her known disdain for letting the few male politicians in Parliament speak openly about the wage gap. Men in the same jobs are earning much less than women, and I wrote that it's unfair for her to silence these men who are working as hard as their female counterparts but aren't receiving the same support. That post received over 6,000 retweets and 10,000 likes. However, the replies are full of women saying that I'm uneducated and unqualified to talk about these issues and that really I should go back to the shed and drink some beer. Some of the tweets I've got have looked a bit like this. Maybe men would get paid equally if they just worked as hard as women and didn't stay at home all day playing video games. No one cares what you have to say, you meninist. Typical man, always thinks he knows best. If I wanted to hear your opinion, I'd have knocked on your cave. I'd pay you a bit more if you just took your clothes off and kept your pretty little mouth shut.
This issue isn't exclusive to Twitter, however. Due to the popularity and ease of the platform, Instagram model Alex Young gets hundreds of comments like Matthew's every day. With over 1 million followers, Alex posts pictures of his life to his Instagram page. From cups of coffee to mirror selfies, Alex bears all, and many of the responses are far from positive.
So it's been about 3 hours since I made my first post of the day, and honestly, I'm really happy with it. I put a lot of effort into it, framing it perfectly, adding the right filter, and choosing the best caption. I even made sure to upload it at a peak time to maximize the optimum interaction with my fans. And yet, the first comment on it was "Go die, fatty." It was a picture of my dog. For my second picture of the day, I got this really good selfie at the beach. It's part of a brand deal I'm working with the local tourism board. I won't say who it is because they're not paying me enough to say that. So I have to make sure this picture fits in with my feed and is also approved by their head of marketing. They're really trying to hit my youthful demographic with their sponsorship. because my audience is mainly 16 to 21-year-old males who sort of idolize me and want to lead the life that I live. I also have a lot of 18 to 24-year-old females who are basically the ones who comment all the time and tell me how hot I am and how I should take my shirt off in all my pictures. I mean, not all of them tell me how hot I am. A lot of my female followers like to pick on my appearance, but because they engage with me, it pays the bills. The more followers and comments, the more companies want to pay to advertise on my page. The media constantly tells men they have to look perfect all the time, but if I alter my pictures, like smooth my skin or make my waist smaller on picture editing apps, I'm criticized for looking too perfect. If I leave my pictures untouched, women always find a way to criticize my imperfections. I feel like that's a double standard every man in the 21st century has to deal with, and will have to continue to deal with until the media and the internet stop objectifying us.
If men are presented as sex objects in movies, newspapers and magazines, then it teaches women to treat men like defragmented sexual entities they can just harass and belittle online. Portraying men as only figures of sexual fulfillment for women with bigger phalluses than brains will continue to perpetuate a double standard of respect. Perhaps it is hard for a lot of women to imagine the abuse that these men receive each day, because they are not confronted with it themselves. Perhaps if the roles were reversed, men would be treated more equally in society, and the double standards would no longer exist.